The member for Sydney has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. This morning I met 13-year-old Eddie, who is visiting Canberra today with his two mums, asking Parliament to block a plebiscite. Eddie said to me, and I quote, "Why should people who barely know us make an assumption on our families and vote on how we can live?" Can the Prime Minister explain why Eddie should have to put up with a $7.5 million campaign by people who've never met him, telling him that there's something wrong with his family?
The Prime Minister has the call. Members on my right, the members for Deakin and Barton will cease interjecting. The member for Moreton is now warned. His next interjection will lead to him being ejected from the chamber. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. We all welcome Eddie and his parents to the House today. We're pleased that he's here, and Eddie will understand that everything we do here in this parliament is designed to ensure that Australia becomes an even better place for him to grow up in and realise his dreams. And in this respect, everything we do is about him and his generation. But, Mr Speaker, I'm very disappointed that the Deputy Leader of the Opposition would use Eddie, take advantage of Eddie's presence in this way. I'm very disappointed because what she has said, is that people who do not know Eddie are not entitled to express a view on the Marriage Act. That's what she's saying. That's what she's saying. Now,
member for Sydney has asked her question.
What's wrong with the people's view? What the Deputy Leader of the Opposition is saying is that the Australian people have no right.
The Prime Minister will resume his seat. The member for Barker will cease interjecting. Can I say to all members interjecting on the subject of the question, Eddie has come here to listen to the answer as well. The question's been asked. The Prime Minister is entitled to address the House without constant interjections.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, Eddie will know, and Eddie will certainly come to know in the years ahead as he gets older, that laws are made in this place that affect all Australians. And they're made in this place that affect all Australians. And Australians make choices in elections, they make choices in referendums, they'll make a choice in this plebiscite that potentially affects every Australian.
Prime Minister will resume his seat. I couldn't have made myself any more clear. The member for Bendigo will leave under 94A. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And we do that. That is the nature of our democracy. We have there is no greater democracy than ours. We have a great, respectful political tradition. Despite some fireworks in the chamber, by and large, we debate big issues respectfully and civilly. And we will do the same on the issue of same-sex marriage. We will do the same on the issue of same-sex marriage. What the Labor Party is saying now, and this, of course, is a party that is led by a man who advocated a plebiscite only 3 years ago, who said he was very comfortable with it. He's on tape doing that, apparently. But look, he's entitled to change his mind. I'm not holding it against him. He's entitled to change his mind. But the truth is that we will ensure that every Australian has a say. And Australians will have that say. They will have a debate. It will be respectful. It will be civil. And then the nation will respect the decision. But above all, Mr Speaker, I want to thank Eddie for being here today. I want to thank him being here today with his two mums. As the Deputy Leader of the Opposition said, we respect them, we respect their family, and we respect the love they have for their boy.
The member for Melbourne.
Mr Speaker, following that answer, my question is to the Prime Minister. Lyle Shelton from the Australian Christian Lobby has said that the push for marriage equality, quote, is causing unthinkable things to happen, just as unthinkable things happened in Germany in the 1930s. Is your hold on power really so slim that you'll spend over $7 million of taxpayers' money so bigots like these can spread their hate speech during a plebiscite, instead of letting MPs just get on with a free vote in Parliament?
The member for Melbourne will resume his seat. The Leader of the House on a point of order.
Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister is not responsible for the remarks of Lyle Shelton, and therefore that part of the question should be ruled out of order.
Members on my left will cease interjecting. I'm going to hear from the Manager of Opposition Business.
The question went to a specific decision of the government to spend money on the campaign, and that has to be in order.
Just before I call the Prime Minister, there's no doubt the first part of the question wasn't in order. The second part went to a decision to expend funds on the plebiscite. The Prime Minister can address that aspect, and I caution the member for Melbourne on his language in the question. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The decision to provide funding to yes and no committees is on all fours with the method that was used in the Republic referendum in 1999. It is a very well established precedent, and I want to thank the Special Minister of State and the Attorney General for crafting a model, a design that reflects very, very closely the mechanism that was used in 1999 by the government to provide funding for both sides. And Mr Speaker, I note that during the Gillard government there was a proposal to have a referendum on the recognition of local government, and indeed the Labor government then proposed, I believe, $20 million of funding to be shared between the two sides advocating the case. So what is being proposed is a conventional approach. It has a precedent in the Republic referendum. It is thoroughly fair, and I want to say to the honourable member, when the plebiscite comes, he and I, despite all of our many differences on other issues, will both vote yes. That's true. So we'll agree with that. But I have to say to him, as somebody who would like the yes vote to be successful, he does his cause no service by insinuating that those who oppose same-sex marriage are homophobic or bigoted. The reality is, and picking out, and Mr Speaker, the honourable member knows very well that as Prime Minister I am not responsible for what that gentleman says any more than he is responsible for what advocates on the other side of the debate say. The bottom line is this. The member for Melbourne. What he's afraid of is a debate. What he's afraid of is speech. What he's afraid of is that he does not trust the civility. Yes, you said you don't trust the civility of the Australian people, the people who elected you. What the honourable member is saying is to the electors of Melbourne, he's saying, I don't trust you to have a respectful civil conversation. I don't trust you to be anything other than bigots. The reality is we put our faith in the Australian people. This is a great democracy. The plebiscite is a proposal we took to the election. We won the election. We have a mandate, and we are asking the Leader of the Opposition to work with us to ensure that on February 11th every Australian gets their say.